Another 10. This time, it's 10 ways that I would fix WWE in 2018. Of course, obviously I could list 10 reasons as to why people like Kevin Dunn, the stupid Bucky Beavertooth motherfucker, thank you Jim Cornette for that, and, a stupid misogynistic asshole should be fired immediately, if not sooner. Guy can't do his goddamn job to save his life. John Laurinaitis and people like that. Of course, John Laurinaitis won't be fired, even though he should be, because Laurinaitis is trash also. Mocking AJ Lee and other women and stuff like that. Like, the only reason Laurinaitis landed the Bella's mom is because he has money. And I'm not saying she's greedy, but I can't imagine any other reason why somebody would want to date the stupid sibling from the Laurinaitis family. But anyway, obviously I could be doing a specific list of like people I would fire. But since of course I'm not in charge of WWE, thank God, because I don't think I'd run the company that well, even from a fan's perspective. These are 10 ways that I would fix WWE. So let's go with number 10. Have more than one good women's angle per show per week. You have 5 hours of programming. They managed to weave a couple decent women's feuds on NXT in sometimes a 50-minute to 1 hour format, depending on how long they make that particular episode per week. They can do that, and yet on 3 hours of Raw and 2 hours of SmackDown, they can only have one. And then if they have any other women's angle, half the time they don't really have a very good one. It's just it's like when Emma and Mickey feuded over, who started the women's revolution, that went nowhere, and that kind of stuff. Now, they do have the NXT call-ups and, of course, the return of Paige. And you have a new group of 3 women on Raw and SmackDown, respectively. And hopefully that can lead to some good feuds. But still, creatively, they need to book the women better. Book the women. The women can do some great things. You just got to put them on a platform. But if you put them on a platform this high, when they should be on a platform this high, like the men are, well, okay. Like that, because I can't measure it all. They need an equal platform. Use the right talent. Obviously, not every woman is able to succeed the same as others because there are different talent levels. There just are. Some women are better in the ring than others. Some women are better on the mic than others. Some women do both very well. Some women do one or the other really well. The bottom line is, though, they got to have more women's angles. More stuff, more ways to use the women, and then it can actually be a better TV product. And that would draw more eyeballs in. It would draw more men in. It would draw more women in. You would get more fans if like, hey, these women aren't just being treated as cannon fodder, or they aren't just being treated as the bathroom break. Because even though the women are having some great matches, and some of them are, in fact, a good majority of them are, they're still being put in like the death slot of a lot of pay-per-views. Like, think about Mania 33, the SmackDown women, that Battle Royal, or that that Invitational, whatever the hell it was, all got glutted together. And Naomi won the title again, which, was great for her, but no one cared. People popped for it a little bit because she was from Orlando, but the vast majority of people didn't care. Which is really sad because they put the match in the death slot. Use the women better. Book them better on Raw and SmackDown. Don't just look at NXT, just look at how Impact booked their women. At least for a while. Okay, not maybe necessarily all the time, but the point is Impact did the whole women's revolution thing way before WWE did. And that's something that I'm always going to at least briefly mention. But they need to have more than one good women's feud per show each week. Does every single woman need to be on the show every week? No. But you need to properly utilize them. And also, since you have all these women up on each roster, establish a women's tag team belt and have teams from Raw and SmackDown compete for it, and the winning team has it on their brand until they lose it to the other brand, that kind of stuff. That's an idea. Number 9, less recaps during weekly TV and pay-per-views. We don't have the attention span of a goddamn goldfish. That's really it. Seriously. That would make... You could actually have another women's match. You could have a longer tag team match. You could have... you can still have your network plugs and all that stuff, but you don't need... here's what you saw. We just saw it before the commercial break. What you're basically saying is, we know a lot of you guys are tuning in and out, so here's what you might have missed. When they could just go to YouTube and see some of that shit. Less recaps. That way, people have to really feel like, oh shit, I missed something. If you do a couple recaps a show, great. Do it for a big moment. Don't do it for every single moment on the show. Because otherwise then it gets tedious. And it waters down the product significantly. And any of the good matches can get cut down. And any of the matches that could be decent get cut down to nothing. Like the cruiserweights. And some of the tag teams. Some of the women. Stop with the recaps. Number 8. Create more tag teams. Establish better feuds. I mean, we don't need to see Ambrose and Rollins and Cesaro and Sheamus and Cesaro Sheamus and Cesaro and the Usos and New Day. We don't need to see the same teams feuding all the time. Obviously, with each week, you can't have all the teams on there. But if you use all the teams you have, then there's something there. You could bring up a team from NXT for each show. Use guys like Rusev and Aiden English in a team. I mean, why not? Orton and Nakamura were a good enough team. Orton might be turning heel soon. But do stuff like that. Do stuff like that. Create more tag teams. I'm not saying create another tag team title. There's already one on each brand. Utilize tag teams better, even though they just broke up the Hype Bros recently. Utilize your tag teams better. And realize there's plenty of great tag team wrestling to be had, not just with the same guys. Number 7, create a mid-card NXT title. TV title would be perfect. I know they're kind of using the UK Championship here and there, and that's good. That's good to get the UK guys more exposure. But create an NXT TV title. That's why some talents have such a short shelf life in NXT. They could have good feuds and then finally pursue the NXT title, and if they win it, great. Then they hold it until they lose it, and then they're gone. Or if they don't win, the NXT title, then maybe they don't get a chance. They feel they can't win anything creatively, they get stifled, and then they get kicked out of NXT and go to the main roster. You create a TV title, one, it would be perfect for the format, the 1-hour format that NXT has. I'm just getting goosebumps thinking about it, because you can have great TV matches. Of course, there will never be another Arn Anderson, even though Dash and Dawson are really, really good. The Revival, they're like modern-day Arn and Tully. You could have, matches where TV title matches would matter, and you would have it at 10 or 15 minutes. I would have it at 15-minute intervals. 10-minute intervals for, actually 15 for TV, and 20 for takeovers. And have something like that. Because you can tell some good psychology. Heel champions find a way to get the victory right at the end by running around the ring or something like that, or kicking out right at the end, where it's like 1, 2, ding, 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 and the face almost wins. And you could build a lot of really great feuds with that. The TV title would be perfect for NXT. Now we go with number 6. No more Steph, Triple H, Shane, Vince on TV. Triple H being on NXT TV a little bit here and there is fine on NXT. That's fine. Or if need be, use them sparingly. 1, we know the Steph, Triple H, Shane, and Vince have stake in the company. Shane maybe less so. Vince obviously owns the goddamn thing. Triple H and Stephanie have some power. Stephanie more than Triple H. But the whole point is, we know they're in charge. We know everybody's in charge, especially Vince. We don't need to see them all the time. Use them sparingly. Make it like the old thing with Jack Tunney. When Jack Tunney was the president. I mean, I'm dating myself way back. When he would make announcements, he didn't make them often, but it felt special. If you do that here, then it means more. But no, Stephanie has to soothe her ego and slap everybody. And that's such great television. And Triple H, don't get me wrong, Triple H is still a quality performer. I don't think he should be wrestling after Mania 34. Shane's still a decent enough performer. Vince, too old, really shouldn't be on TV, even though he can get a decent pop. And the thing he did with Owens was good stuff. Use them sparingly. Use them a few times a year. But really, establish guys like Angle and Daniel Bryan as the authority figures. And bring in Shane, Stephanie, Vince, Triple H, that kind of stuff for big angles, pardon the pun. But don't use them that often. Otherwise, it waters it down and it makes it, we're the same thing as 2013, 2014, 2015, TV. Number 5, shorter pre-shows, less recaps, shorter pay-per-views. Shorten the pre-shows by at least 30 minutes. We need a 30-minute pre-show for every one of the B pay-per-views. The 5 big brand pay-per-views, including Money in the Bank. If you want to have an hour, fine. Mania, 2 hours, I get it. But Hour for the Rumble. Hour for Money in the Bank. Hour for SummerSlam. Hour for Survivor Series. None of this 2-hour bullshit. We don't need 2-hour stuff. We already see enough recaps. Don't recap every single damn thing during the pre-show and then during the pay-per-view. And if you're going to do very little ones, shorter pay-per-views, we don't need Mania to be about 10,000 hours. We don't need SummerSlam to be 10,000 hours. We don't need, No Mercy ran a little long too, and so did Hell in a Cell, but yes, they have their own network. They can do that kind of stuff, but it does water down the product. Having longer matches isn't necessarily bad, but you got to have deep enough cards to have longer matches. Otherwise, just have it be standard. People get their fill. Then they can come back and say, ooh, I want a little more. I'm going to see what happens next time. That's what you do. You leave the audience wanting just a little more. Number 4, utilize UK talents and UK title and talents more. Easy for me to say. Do it on Raw, do it on SmackDown, whatever. Do it on NXT. Utilize them more. I know they're under different type of contracts where they can appear as some indie promotions, and it works, but they can do that kind of stuff. Pete Dunne is wonderful. Pete Dunne's in my top 5 of favorite WWE superstars of the year. Easily. Every time I've seen the guy has delivered a match of the year just top quality match. Him and Tyler Bate still delivered my favorite match of the year at NXT TakeOver Chicago. Which, bit of a spoiler, considering we only have one other pay-per-view left and I'm going to be doing my best matches of the year show. In TakeOver, I actually probably will just do my favorite 5, 7, or 10 matches from TakeOvers. Number 3, end 205 Live the show. Split the talents among Raw and SmackDown. Just end it. Have the Cruiserweight title, defended on both shows. Yeah, maybe the champion won't get as much time off, but it still makes the brand mean more. Because 205 Live's dead. The show, not the talents. The talents are great. It's a money pit. It's not drawing the numbers to the network. Stop doing it. Or put it on before SmackDown, where the crowd will have incentive to show up, a little earlier, get their seats and everything, and be more hyped. That would be a whole lot more energetic. Otherwise, end the thing, have the Cruiserweight title on Raw, and defend it also on SmackDown, and then have the title traded back and forth a couple times a year. Make the title mean something. It gets you tuned into both brands because you're like, okay, cool, what is the Cruiserweight title going to change hands tonight? We got to see. That's how you do it. Because 205 Live at this point isn't going to work. Number 2, no more part-timers as champions. Nostalgia is fine. No more misuse of the titles. Lesnar as champion is bullshit. It's complete bullshit. Because it doesn't make the title mean anything. Sorry, it just doesn't. If he defended the title at a few more pay-per-views, I might care. But none of his feuds have been that good. He shows up, Heyman hypes it up, they have a confrontation, they have the match, Lesnar wins, that's it. Just no good. Goldberg as Universal Champion was bad. I may not like Roman Reigns, at least Roman Reigns shows up every week. It's just they need no more part-timers as champion. They just don't. They don't need it. Having nostalgia is okay. Just having guys be champion when they're barely on the show is not any good. That's why Orton shouldn't be champion again, because Orton has a liar schedule. He just shouldn't be champion anymore. He's currently not champion. I'm just saying there's no reason for him to be champion. And number 1, less scripted promos. And basically I wrote down, let talents be themselves. More realism will get eyes on the product, because especially the promos with the women on Raw and SmackDown of this week was absolutely baffling. Because, okay, sure, I don't know how good of a talker Mandy really is. Sonya's getting there. Those two, they're gonna jockey for position and get better on the mic. Paige still was, Ruby was fine, but just the way people talk, WWE doesn't know how people talk anymore. They make them sound stilted and awkward and bad, and it's terrible. Why is this happening? This is less scripting. Making sure they have bullet points is fine. And making sure, you can only see this on the WWE network, where I'm going to beat this guy, I'm going to beat this guy up. You don't have to swear and swear and swear and this kind of stuff, but if people can't be a little less scripted, then it's just going to be more awkward, and same with the announcers. Graves is about the only one I can even listen to on commentary. Booker's terrible. Cole's a puppet. Phillips is eh. Byron is eh. I feel bad for Byron because everybody picks on him. He seems like a nice guy. But less scripting of the talents, less scripting of the announcers. I'm not saying let the product be wide open like the Attitude Era, but the Ruthless Aggression Era had a little less scripting. Do stuff like that. Maybe with less swearing. Since they're technically PG with some, flexibility. Do less scripting, because otherwise you're just making your talents seem silly. So that's why I gotta say that. Those are my 10 ways I would fix WWE in 2018. What are some ways you'd fix them? Leave them in the comments. Like, share, subscribe also. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritland. I'm John Ritland. I will see you soon.